So my name is Lisa and I'm a dental assistant. The role of a dental assistant is to be the doctor's right hand. There's an order of operations that happens while doing a procedure. So what it looks like is very much preparation oriented. We make sure the rooms are thoroughly clean before we welcome the patient to the room. We make sure we understand what procedure is being done and then gather all the instruments we need to perform that procedure. When the patient comes in, we seat them. It's important to bib them up for protection, put on our gloves, and also it's really important to make sure everything is sealed. That just provides a sense of relief for the patient, knowing that everything that we're using is absolutely clean and used just on them for that procedure. And then, of course, when the patient is done, walking them out, making sure all notes are written so there's nothing missing, and then we make sure we clean the room. All the instruments are put very specifically in an area and everything is wiped down and sterilized, covered, and then prepared for the next patient. So our hours of work are usually 8 a day. We're very meticulous in making sure our day is planned properly. I think for hard skills, that's the basic of this job. Of course, learning software and learning how to use computers and making appointments and all the technical stuff. What I think is more important is definitely the soft skills in this career. Communication is extremely important. Dental work can be very intimidating for a lot of people. So body language, tone, communication, the way you approach talking to someone, I think is very important to make someone feel comfortable and safe in the gym. When it comes down to the work, again, it is very technical. However, you are helping people. That is a big part of your job. So we use orgs and Dentrix for our softwares in the office, and many different tools and hand pieces, and we make sure they're all organized and in a specific place. Especially with technology, there's things such as x-ray guns that we now use that's more accessible. I think someone's qualities that makes them good for this job is definitely their attitude in life. You know, it's a lot of hard work physically and mentally. So being persistent in that aspect, being positive, being friendly, and that's honestly in any career. It's always good to have a positive attitude and have a smile on your face. Definitely being a people's person and knowing how to communicate is very important. Again, because you give off energy and you bounce off of other people's energy, so you determine how you feel throughout the day. I think one of the most stressful parts of the job is experiencing the patient pain. We try as much as possible to reduce that. We make sure with every problem there's a solution. I enjoy physically seeing and knowing that I helped someone out. That's a big part of my life and also a big reason why I chose to go into this field. So having the satisfaction of knowing that someone is now okay, out of pain, and comfortable, because something that can affect in your teeth can really be a big part every single day. When you're eating, when you're trying to sleep, having discomfort. So it's really nice knowing that I can help someone out in that aspect. For me personally, there's one doctor that I work with, along with the same coworkers. However, that's not set in stone for every practice. I know that many practices actually have multiple dentists at their office, so that can change day to day, depending on where you work. The work-life balance, I think, is pretty good. I think that also comes down to how you personally use your time, as well as other things that are important to you in your life. I think it's great. I personally love my job. The pace of my job, I think, varies day to day. There's some days in the office that are slower than others. There are some where we're extremely fast-paced. Work under these experiences so you know how to move accordingly when it is fast-paced and how to utilize your time correctly when it's slower. It does vary office to office. I wouldn't go into one office and see what they have to offer and set that as a baseline for other offices, but they're very giving. So we do have PTO and vacation time off, as well as health benefits as well. So the average for a dental assistant, I would say baseline is 45 to 50. Of course, there's different levels of being a dental assistant. There's something called being an EDA, which is you acquiring more skills than the general assistant. Of course, that means an increase of pay because of your skills. So as years go along, as your experiences grow and your skills grow, that can definitely increase. The most rewarding part is seeing them relieved, absolutely. Also, this is your work and people come back periodically to get their work done. So it's really rewarding building a relationship with the people coming in over time. Establishing that relationship, again, having a conversation, having a good laugh, making sure they're comfortable, and getting your work done at the end of the day. You know, work is work, but you can always make it upbeat and fun and exciting. Build on your skills, such as becoming an EDA which can do fillings, for example, where a general assistant may not be able to do so. There's so many different opportunities and jobs you can do within the dental field, absolutely, such as teaching or working in the front and helping the doctor as much as possible. It is quite competitive. Again, there's certain requirements you need to do to be able to have this job and to perform this job. It takes a lot of time and persistence. Again, in my personal experience, it was multiple offices, multiple conversations with doctors. That shouldn't stop you from trying and achieving what you want, because sometimes hearing a no will push you to become greater and push yourself to become better and acquire more skills and also learn a lot of new things. I believe you have to fail to learn and grow. I never knew exactly that I wanted to be a dentist. However, I took the path of physically bringing myself into the field. I tried a lot of different things and experienced a lot of different offices and jobs in healthcare. A mix of, I'm very outgoing. I love talking to people. I can talk to people all day. Trying out all these different career paths and putting myself under the dental environment really confirmed for me that this is something that I love to do, something that I can succeed in. So having your expert certification is very important and helpful. Most offices nowadays have that as a requirement. We do take pictures on the daily of patients. It's important to have that knowledge on how to correctly use x-rays and how to read them, so we provide the correct information to the patients. The dental school route comes with a lot of requirements, which is why it's important to do your research. And it's nice that your research is not limited. Again, you can always go talk to a doctor directly, or students at an office or in a school already ahead of you in their school years. The process of dental school is first having an exam called the DAT. This exam is accumulative of all the information you learned in college in your classes, as well as your GPA. That is very important. However, that is not everything. It's important to have work experience and have your hours done. I know that is a requirement for dental school, as well as extracurriculars are really important. Who you are as a person outside of the technical stuff, such as learning and grades. What do you like to do? What do you succeed in? How do you use your time? Do you use it for good? There's many different routes to go about training. There are programs offered at schools that you can take to become a dental assistant. I personally learned through on-the-job experiences of learning. I was fortunate to have that experience, but there's many different routes to go to acquire that. Offices are very welcoming. I know that this field can be quite intimidating, but it's actually the opposite once you surround yourself in that environment. They're very kind, and you can shadow, having different perspectives, talking to different doctors, talking to different people and their experiences. everyone's will be a little different. So gathering information from as many different resources as you can. Printed like 50 resumes, and I went around to all these offices, asking questions and asking for an opportunity to be able to work and learn. The most easiest way is definitely picking a science-based degree and following that path, completing, making sure you're on top of all your classes, because dental school is in addition to everything that you learned. You go in adding on to things you learned in your college years. You can absolutely study something else, but look into the requirements for dental school and study, and do what needs to be done. There's definitely some research that needs to be done. Not only do you need to complete your bachelor's degree in college, however, if you are going the pre-dental route, when you're looking at dental schools to go into, they have certain requirements, and the classes they require might not always be under the degree that you're choosing. So it's important to be aware while you're in school to do your research and make sure you have everything completed, so down the road you're not stuck and having to do anything extra. I wish I had surrounded myself in certain programs beforehand in high school as well. It definitely helps you have a jump start even in your educational career, because you can excel in different classes, different levels of classes you can take, and of course that adds on to your knowledge and your skills as well. The advice I would give is to definitely surround yourself with other people that are interested or considering this career. There's many different things you can involve yourself in, such as dental clubs and different learning and studying sessions that you can build and grow off of other people that are wanting to go into this field. My advice is also to know not to stop yourself if you come across any difficulties, maybe such as a financial aspect. There's so many different resources and helpfulness out there that can help you achieve your goal. Researching and doing scholarships, especially in programs and in colleges, the financial office is really open and persistent into helping you as much as possible, whatever that may be. For me personally, I realized that it's not a cutthroat path to having to be at school full-time and then having the pressure of being at work as well. You can manage and do what makes you comfortable. For me personally, I do my classes online, so I have the opportunity to work on my school in an environment where I'm comfortable and learning, as well as having the time to go to work and putting on as much effort as I can. So it's very important. You can kind of play around with how your schedule looks and what your day-to-day looks. It's not necessarily pressuring yourself and doing all these things at once, because it can be a lot and there's only so much time in the day. This is honestly in any aspect of your life. I think it's very important to learn how to work with anyone. We all have different personalities and perspectives, opinions, and feelings as well. So being kind, confident, and not taking anything personal, understanding that I might have a great idea, but someone else can build on it and give me a different perspective. And teamwork, we can all build on that and make and grow into something really big. So I think that's very important to not hold back from anything that you personally might not agree with, because again, everyone is different, and it's important to collect and grow on that and learn from it.